one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
Hi guys, this is Nick, and I'm from London, and my listener request is a film called The Beast, also known as The Beast of War. My reason for wanting you guys to cover this particular film is I think it's a really great hidden gem, a really great obscure film, and as such, of course, not many people know about it, and I think more people should know about it. And I would very much like to hear what you guys have to say, what your takes are on the film. So yeah, that's my request, The Beast, aka The Beast of War, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks very much.
Welcome back to CinemaCult. I'm Chris.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Honto.
And this episode, we have a listener request from Nick in London. This is our first non-US request. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Good way to put it.
Yeah. Nick from London requested this. It's called, there's like 5 different titles for this movie. There's The Beast by R.L. Stine. And then, there's The Beast. And then there's The Beast of War. Is that correct?
Yeah, Beast of War.
Okay. What did it come out as?
I know as The Beast.
It's The Beast, like, primarily I'm seeing, like, The Beast, and then it says also known as The Beast of War.
Okay, that's what you're getting. Okay. From 1988. None of us had any history with this movie. I had not even heard of it until I saw that request.
Yeah. I have never heard of this.
I want to say the only time I've ever heard of this movie was reading about, because I love Robin Hood, and this is directed by Kevin Reynolds. They're both directed by Kevin Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
I love Robin Hood, and Robin Hood gets a lot of shit because Kevin Costner was talked out of using an English accent. So he has an American accent throughout the movie, right? And the only time I've ever heard of The Beast was in relation to Robin Hood, because it was the same situation with, like, they're all playing Soviet soldiers, and none of them have any accents.
So it was kind of like,
movie? Yeah, it was the kind of same thing. Like, oh, Kevin Reynolds does it again. Like, no accents.
Yeah, I was actually getting thrown off throughout this entire movie, thinking like, oh yeah, I got to keep in mind that they're Soviet, they're Russians, they're not Americans, because none of them have accents, and it's kind of.
I don't want to go into this movie, but already with a negative. But that's lazy. I think that is utterly lazy, because, and like I said, I'm getting the one big negative out of the way, because if you're playing a certain type, like, how hard you're an actor, do an accent. You know what I mean? Like, that drove me crazy. Because, and I didn't know, and I was confused too, because I watched it with my girlfriend, and she was like, are they Russians? And I was like, I think so. They keep saying they're Russians, but I was like, but they talk like they're Americans, which I think is, I don't know.
What they should have done is just did the typical Hollywood, give these guys British accents, and then they're from everywhere in Europe, like that's what.
Right.
But in this movie, they're all just playing American types, or not playing American types. They have American English accents,
Do you guys think that's lazy filmmaking?
Okay, so what I'm this isn't trivia, so I don't know if this is true or not, but this is what I think happens. Especially with like older Hollywood productions, you go back and watch older movies, and somebody's playing a character that's obviously not American. They still have their American accent on top of that character, and like they used to do this all the time. John Wayne did this.
Yeah. Genghis Khan.
It was Genghis Khan. So it's
like I'm Genghis Khan.
Yeah, and
Pilgrim.
So it's like, I don't know.
There's a snake in my boot. Okay.
I don't know if it was the intention to be lazy, or if it was the intention of like, this is how Hollywood sees, like, they won't be able to sell the movie if everyone's speaking Russian accents.
Right. Yeah.
Which is I'm sure there's some dumbass on the set that says that, or some producer, and then immediately they're like, we have to do
some non-creative executive or whatever.
Yeah.
Got to sell the movie.
Same thing. I believe it's the same thing that happened with Robin Hood.
Okay.
Because Kevin Costner had an English accent, and I want to say like the producers talked him out of using the English accent.
I mean, they later I think that movie, that mockumentary, The Death of Stalin with Steve Buscemi. I think they're purely inspired by this movie because everyone's using their own accent in that movie, and they're all supposed to be Russians.
Oh, really?
Russians. Yeah, they're supposed to be Russians.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's like Steve Buscemi's just doing his like, hey, like his regular accent, and you're just like, oh,
yeah,
it's supposed to be Gorbachev or not Gorbachev, but like somebody, I can't remember who he's supposed to be playing, but yeah, everyone's just using their own accent in that entire movie.
So yeah, what I'm saying is, I think they're kind of trapped. I don't think it's because they don't want to use Russian accents. I think it's like, hey, like we're not going to get funding for this movie if you guys don't act like you're American. Like, which is stupid.
I think that's an excuse. It's almost like making like a Transformers movie, like, but we're not going to put robots in it. Like, we're not going to get funding if there's robots in it. So, we're going to get, instead of robots, we're going to have
Roblox.
Like that's like an off, like the fake Legos.
Yeah, it's like the off-brand Legos.
Duplos.
Duplos.
I like how you made it sound like you made that up, Chris. Like
what, Duplos?
Yeah, the way you said it, you're like Duplos.
I had nothing there.
No,
I don't want to get too much into the movie. You're getting too far. I want to set this movie
I'm not getting too far. You brought the question up.
I just said, have you seen it? That was the question. Was, have you seen it?
So yeah, I just think like it's one of those things. Okay, if also too, you look at what the movie is. The movie's like main character is Russian. Yeah. So it's like you got like it's like, so Hollywood probably looks at this movie as like, how do we sell this? This is gonna be a hard sell. Which, by the way, the movie was only in like 2 theaters, I believe.
I was about to say, yeah, because it's not really well known, even though it has like a pretty known cast in this movie. But I don't, yeah, it's just weird that nobody's ever heard of this movie, really.
Yeah. No, so that's what I'm just saying that, like, if it's 1980s and they're trying to sell a movie where the main characters are Soviets, so like they're probably thinking like, how do we sell this? Like, make them use American accents instead of
then change your script
Russian accents.
I mean, like, and that's why I think Robin Hood's lazy too, because Kevin Costner sounds just like he does Bull Durham, and he's like he's got like chew in his mouth, like, shooting arrows.
No, I'm with you. It annoys me too. I'm just
Valkyrie.
Saying
Valkyrie was one.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Where Tom Cruise played a Nazi, didn't he? And yeah, talk like Tom Cruise.
Yeah, and it came out. I want to say it came out.
Let's kill Hitler.
I want to say it came out like right after Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, it did. Because it was and the other Let's Kill Hitler movie.
Yeah, and then Inglourious Bastards was like, yeah, it's stupid in these movies when these people show up and they don't have accents and they're not speaking German and they're supposed to be Nazis, and it's like, yeah. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm just thinking that it was a production thing that said they probably just trying to figure out how do we sell this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good. So what's this? Oh, The Beast of War. So what do you think it has on Rotten Tomatoes? Hans, I'll start with you. Go.
75%.
Matt, go.
70%.
85%.
Oh wow.
Oh, okay.
Okay. How much do you think its budget was? Hanto, go.
4 million.
Matt.
Seems very
3 million. I'm gonna go 3 million.
8 million.
Oh wow.
So Hanto, you if you would have made on your budget, you could have made this movie twice.
Cool.
What? That didn't make any sense. All right, so how much do you think it made in theaters, Matt?
2 million.
Hanto?
1 million.
161.
Oh.
$1,000.
Oh no.
$161,000.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say 161 million. I was like, oh my
that's what I was trying to go with.
I was like, how did I not hear about this movie?
How did Kevin Reynolds like make movies after this? I feel like maybe it's more on the marketing side, but yeah, I feel like someone was at fault here.
Oh well,
okay. So going down his filmography.
We'll get into his filmography. We'll get into it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a good question. Like, what came after this movie?
Well, we'll get into it. I want to get into Kevin Reynolds. I want to talk about the cast and the crew and all that. Yeah. So at that point, let's go ahead and take us to the cast and crew.
Okay. Directed by Kevin Reynolds. He wrote Red Dawn, also involving Russians. He directed speaking of Kevin Costner, he did Fandango, which is a movie with I think it's like a buddy road trip movie that has like Judd Nelson.
Yeah.
From Breakfast Club.
That cabin in the lake movie?
Not the Eden Lake, or no, not the from the previous episode, but there's a
yeah.
I remember always catching this movie on TV. There's a part where like they parachute, or I think Judd Nelson's going to parachute or skydive, and they're like, "Don't jump! You're using the parachute with dirty laundry," and he's like falling out of the airplane, and everyone's like thinks he's gonna die. It's really I can't remember. I only remember this.
Is it supposed to be funny?
I feel like it kind of is, but it's also like, oh no, this is actually might be serious. But I think it's like your typical like coming of age type buddy trip movie, where they're just hanging out and experiencing.
Yeah, it's on my list. I want to say it's like it looks like Diner.
Yeah,
you guys ever see Diner?
Like Diner, but on the road.
Yeah, a diner on the road.
Yeah,
a diner on the road.
We call that fast food.
That's his first one, isn't it? That Fandango.
I think it is. So. Yeah, I try to list them in kind of order, but yeah, I think it is his first one, or his first one is a short. Then he wrote Red Dawn. Then he directed Fandango as his first movie, made The Beast as his second movie, and then he gets into Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves from 1991. And then the next like big budget box office failure, Waterworld, which I had no idea he directed. And then
have you guys seen? Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Keep going.
No. What are you gonna ask?
Because there's a few of these movies I want to ask you guys about. So just get through the rest.
Yeah, of it. His filmography is very interesting because I know of all these movies, but like didn't know it was this guy. He did 187 with Sam Jackson. It's like the where he's like a teacher in high school, like a violent high school.
I only remember the ending to that movie.
Oh yeah,
it's depressing.
Yes,
it's very depressing.
Yeah.
He did The Count of Monte Cristo, which I would argue is probably like his highest regarded movie. Probably next to Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, I feel like. And then he directed Tristan and Isolde, which is like your Romeo and Juliet-esque story with, I think,
James Franco? Yeah.
Franco. And then he directed his last movie was Risen from 2016, starring Joseph Fiennes. And he hasn't made anything since.
Well, he did at Hatfields. Did you say Hatfields and McCoy's?
Oh, I did not. I watched it.
Yeah,
I've seen it. Yeah. So TV credits. He did an episode of Amazing Stories from '86, and then he directed the 2012 miniseries Hatfields and McCoy's, which is actually pretty good. I actually watched this a long time ago. But also Kevin Costner. It's Kevin Costner pitted against Bill Paxton, which is cool. An epic matchup.
So this is like Kevin Costner's Robert De Niro, Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
Right?
It is.
Because this is 4 times he's worked with him. Fandango, Robin Hood, Waterworld, Hatfields and McCoy's.
Oh,
yeah, but like on a very weak scale though, because they I guess they fight on set all the time. They stopped talking to each other for 15 years after Waterworld.
Really?
So it's more of like a Werner Herzog and Klaus Kinski relationship.
Yeah.
Because they fought so much on Waterworld, he was like, "You could direct it then," and then he quit the movie. So technically, Kevin Costner directed the majority of that movie.
Wow. Kind of like how Kurt Russell kind of ghost directed Tombstone, apparently.
Yeah.
But
ending Kevin Reynolds credits though, I will say that probably his biggest movie is when he was the second unit director for Whitewater Summer, starring Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, it is.
And that was I think that was the movie that really got him on the map.
I can say, out of all his filmography, that's probably my favorite movie of Kevin Reynolds.
I've watched Whitewater Summer multiple times, including watching it last week.
I would say that's his best movie. I would say, honestly, that is, out of his entire filmography, that's probably the best thing he's done. So, all right, and who we got for some stars?
So we got George Dzundza as the commander, aka Tank Boy is what he's referred to, or he tells a story later on in the movie. He's best known probably for Deer Hunter, Crimson Tide, and Dangerous Minds. He has since retired from acting in 2011, and he does actually more directing stage plays. Like I think where he lives, I think he just helps like local theater groups by directing.
Okay.
We got Jason Patric as Constantine, the Lost Boys, and did we see him live at Whorehound?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I think he did did we see the Q&A? Lost Boys Q&A with him and Sutherland?
Yeah.
Did we?
Kiefer Sutherland wasn't there. Kiefer Sutherland
I think you told me, and then you asked me.
No, Kiefer Sutherland
I don't remember.
there. They were in the same room
Kiefer was there, yeah.
We didn't see Kiefer, though. He didn't pop up in the Q&A. I didn't see
him.
No, because I remember we saw him in Indianapolis, and we had to like peek from afar through a room because it was like a private
oh, you're right. So we didn't see Jason Patric then. Yeah, because it's Jason Patric and Kiefer Sutherland together at that Whorehound. And then another Whorehound, we saw the Corey Feldman
Angels in the Angels.
Jason was it Jason what's the other frog brother?
I can't remember the actor's name. We saw like the sexy saxophone player.
Yes.
And then we saw the guy who sings Cry Little Sister, like the theme song to Lost Boys.
Yeah.
But
Corey Feldman showed up like
he showed up like probably 30 minutes late to this panel, and he had his two angels from his like music videos or whatever.
Yeah, women that were dressed like angels.
Felt so bad for them, but yeah, they're just like hanging out off to the side, and yeah,
it was weird because like I don't know, like it was like super awkward. Like when he walked in, I just want to paint the story for the viewers. It was awkward because here we are watching this like panel of just like essentially one vampire from Lost Boys and then the other two musicians.
It was a vampire. Yeah, it was one of the vampires.
And we're just kind of like, all right, this is cool. And then like 30 minutes into it, Corey Feldman finally shows up with like two angels, and everybody just kind of like looks at him. And I don't know if he was like I don't know if he was expecting everybody to clap or cheer as he's walking in. And it was just like dead quiet as he's like trying to maneuver around the crowd with these two women. And he just gets up on stage, and even the people on stage were like looking at him like, all right. And then he sat down, and it was like, okay, Corey Feldman's here now.
I think it would have gone. I think it would have gone way better if one of the angels was carrying a boombox and it was just, y'all ready for this?
Yeah, like Space Jam soundtrack or something. Yeah. But it was just uncomfortable. It was like, this wasn't as cool as like you thought it was going to be. Showing up 30 minutes late to the panel.
When you brought up that Jason Patric thing, like, didn't we see him live? Like, I didn't know what you were referring to, and I thought you meant like we saw him like with like a live Vegas act or something like Jason Patric.
Yeah, because all the times we've gone to Vegas together.
Yeah, and all the times we saw Jason Patric live.
Yeah,
a lot of people live. But continue on with his. What's that? What are you gonna say?
Go ahead, do his filmography, and I got my little trivia for you, Hanto. It's gonna blow your butt. Go ahead.
Is it okay? I'm probably not gonna be fazed by it, but okay.
You will.
Him in Sleepers, which is a very difficult movie to watch.
It is.
It's a very difficult movie. And then he pops up in Narc and Speed 2, Cruise Control. But I also didn't realize I was
what was that dramatic pause?
lag time.
Yeah, sorry, zoom lag. I didn't realize this, but his grandfather is Jackie Gleason.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I had no idea.
Do you know who his dad is?
Oh, I looked him up too.
Oh man,
I don't know why I didn't write it down. Who is it?
You obviously don't know.
No, I'm asking you who it is. That's why I don't know.
Okay, his dad. Yeah.
I literally said, who is it?
His dad is Jason Miller, the priest from The Exorcist.
Oh shit!
Isn't that weird?
Dang.
So Jason Patric's real name is Miller. His last name was Miller. So he was named after his dad. So it was Jason Miller.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I was watching a podcast with Michael Rosenbaum, and it was Kiefer Sutherland. Yeah, and Jason Patric got together, and he talked about Donald Sutherland, and he's like, "Yeah, and your dad, Jason Patric, was Jason Miller from The Exorcist, and it's like I was like, holy shit, I didn't know that.
That is a mind blown situation.
I know.
I'm more mind blown.
How's your butt feel? How's your butt feel, dude?
It's
Has your butt been blown?
No.
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 I was really hoping to have blown your butt.
My mind is blown, but not my butt.
No.
I think the best part about that whole thing was Hansen going, I don't know who it is. Who is it? And Matt's like, you don't know. And I'm just like, yeah, I know. That's why I asked you.
Just admit that you don't know. It's like, I literally just said I don't know.
No, you didn't say
it. You're like, I didn't write it down.
Yeah, it's like, I didn't recognize, so I didn't write it down, so I'm not sure. And then you're like, just admit it. You don't know. It's like, yeah, I don't know.
I think Matt saw you doing like a sidestep where like you didn't know, but I'm gonna start doing that. If you say like, if somebody asks you a question you don't know, and you're like, I didn't write it down. Why don't you go ahead and tell me? So it makes you look like you know it, but you just forgot to write it down. And then you'd be like, yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Continue with your cast and crew.
Stephen Bauer as Khan. He is probably
Gleaming the Cube.
What?
That's all I remember him from. Gleaming the Cube, isn't he?
He is in Gleaming the Cube. I did write that down. But I would say he's probably best known as being Al Pacino's buddy in Scarface.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's probably what he's known better for. Yeah, that's it.
The Cube. 90s skateboard movie.
I purposely didn't look up cast and crew on this, and I was like, I know who that guy is. That's driving me nuts. So, dude.
And I think he's the bad guy in
mind blown.
The Billy Crystal, Gregory Hines Running Scared. I think he's the main bad guy. It might be Jimmy Smits, but I can't remember.
I
haven't seen Running Scared in a long time.
Is that the tap dancing movie?
No.
Huh? That's Tapping Scared.
Tapping.
Keep going.
Hey, Matt, you're on today, dude. You're on.
But I know him best because he's awesome in it. He is in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul as Don Eladio. He's the rival. Remember. He's basically like the rival to Gustavo Fring. He only pops up in like maybe I want to say like 4 or 5 episodes total, and that's like Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul combined. It's whenever
where they're at the pool. He poisons him at the pool party. Spoiler alert. Do you know what I'm talking about, Chris?
15-year-old.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, it's like his backstory.
Yeah, he kills Gustavo's basically business partner, like back in the day before Los Pollos Hermanos. You know.
Yeah. Why'd you take a drink after that? You're like, you know.
It's a little break for you guys to answer while I'm it's like I'm doing like a talk show. Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
You heard about this?
Yeah, I wrote it down. You go ahead and tell me because could you imagine being a guest on like Jimmy Fallon and you yell at Jimmy Fallon like, you don't know? I'm like, yeah, I know. I just asked you.
I literally am. That's why I have you on for tonight, is because I don't know these things. I'm asking you questions.
You don't know what movie I'm trying to promote.
We got Erick Avari as Samad. Previous episodes: Encino Man and Independence Day. Oh my god. I just choked.
Independence Day. This is my favorite cast and crew ever.
This is really good.
It's getting goofy. Yeah. Independence Day. And then he also pops up in Stargate, The Mummy, and Mr. Deeds.
Yes.
Stargate is a boring movie.
Yeah. Really? I saw that movie in theaters and remember and be like, there's so many I didn't come here to read the movie. Because it's all like subtitles of the movie.
You're 8-year-old Honto. I'm not reading the movie.
Yeah, I'd rather read this Goosebumps.
The Beast by R.L. Stein.
Yeah, The Beast.
Going through some of the movies we just talked about, I wouldn't mind doing Waterworld at one point. It's kind of a cult classic now.
If we revisit like our big blockbuster bombs or whatever, big blockbuster movies, we could. I feel like it definitely has some talking points, but
summer stinkers.
Yeah, summer stinkers.
Or we can go. Okay, all right. It's a play on words. Some are stinkers. Like some are stinkers. Some are stinkers. Some are stinkers.
Some are stickers. Are you saying stickers? Some are stickers.
Yeah, and we'll talk about our favorite stickers. Hey, can we talk about subtitles?
I'm so sorry, Nick.
Well, okay, so Waterworld's one of them I would like to do because like I'd like to return to it. But Stargate would be one I wouldn't mind talking about with you guys, just to be like, how
which one?
Stargate?
Oh, Stargate.
Just because like it's one of those movies that should be a lot of fun, but it's not.
Yeah.
And I would like to like discuss that with you guys.
Who's the director on that? Is it
yes, Roland Emmerich. He directed basically Independence Day and all those destruction movies.
So he gets along with this guy then that you were just talking about.
Yeah, he pops up in at least 2 of the movies.
Stargate and Independence Day.
Yeah. Continue on. We got Stephen Baldwin as Anatoly, born on the 4th of July, The Usual Suspects, Biodome, The Flintstones, and Viva Rock Vegas. I just named his movies from highest regarded to lowest regarded. He really.
Well, why'd you say? Why'd you put Biodome so low? Have you watched Biodome lately?
Oh yeah, that movie is unwatchable. I watched it not too long ago, and I had to turn it off when he got to the free mahi mahi. I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not like no.
We have to watch that movie.
You had my time years ago, not anymore. I'm grown up.
we either watch that or is it Jury Duty?
There is a bunch.
I would rather do Biodome, but
I'd probably do Biodome before I do Jury Duty, just because.
I remember Jury Duty not being the best.
I wouldn't mind. Okay, I wouldn't mind doing a court a court themed month of movies and throwing Jury Duty in there with like Time to Kill,
Runaway Jury, and like we do To Kill a Mockingbird. Like
yes, and then we ended off with Jury Duty.
Jury Duty. That's where we lose everybody when we get to Jury Duty. Everyone's just like,
yeah. We should have a versus episode.
I had my time before, not anymore.
We'll do a versus episode. It'll be Jury Duty versus 12 Angry Men, and we'll see which one's the more realistic one.
Yeah.
12 Angry Men is incredible. I love that movie.
Hey, remind me because I don't want to forget this. I have a really cool midway through the movie. I'll bring this up, and I want to see if you guys agree. So just bring up Chris. You got a question? Just say that at some point.
Try my best.
All right. Okay. You can remember those words. Remember those words.
We got Donald Patrick Harvey as Kaminsky, Creepshow 2, The Untouchables, and Die Hard 2.
Is this who is this in this movie?
He's the third guy left in the movie next to Stephen Baldwin and George Dzundza.
Got it. Okay.
But he's also another guy that is in the Breaking Bad Better Call Saul verse. He pops up in a couple of episodes.
Oh, cool. Okay. Who was he in Creepshow 2? Do you remember? Or did it say?
I didn't look it up. I'm not sure, but I can.
Not that I know that movie that well, but.
Matt, what were you going to say? I'll look this up real quick.
Chris, you had a question?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, you can ask me. No, that's good. Just do it later in the podcast.
Oh, okay. Like later.
Thanks, Matt. Right. That bought me enough time. He's in the Old Chief Woodenhead segment.
Oh, okay. So really? One of the gang members, maybe?
Yeah. I don't know if he's also doing a very terrible impression.
I was gonna say we talked about this, but like who the leader of the gang is.
Yeah, he's from that Fight Club and Mindhunters.
Yeah, from Mindhunters.
Yeah.
Okay. I got you.
And then we'll end it with Kabir Bedi as AKBAR, who I think is the uncle of the Khan. He is best known as playing the main heavy in Octopussy. I just watched this clip on YouTube.
Yes, it's been a while. I don't know.
This guy hilariously dies because he Bond is hanging off the side of a plane trying to get in, and he, for whatever reason, this guy climbs out to try to kick him off, and then he himself ends up falling off the plane because he gets hit with the antenna. Bond flings the antenna in his face, and then his stunt double flies off the plane and is just clearly wearing a parachute, and it's awesome.
Really? Okay.
Well, yeah, because I remember it because the guy crawls out on the plane, right? The bad guy does, and he's gonna he takes his shoe off and he puts his hand in his shoe and he starts punching James Bond's hands with his shoe.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Stepping on him. No.
That's such a lie.
Imagine putting your hand through your shoe. Putting your hand through your shoe and it's this. You're just you're trying to step on something, you're punching somebody's hand instead of stepping on them.
It's like the bad guys in the group have their own Q, but he's even worse than Q. So he's with his next invention. You put it on your hand, and you can stomp on their hands.
Why would you not just step on their hands?
Trust me,
understand.
it's a clever invention. Just try it out.
Punch their hands with the shoe.
It will come in.
It's like a lazy cue. You just like put your hand in it. And you just like hit things.
Why can't I kick them? Well, you kind of are kicking him. You're kicking him with your fist.
It's we'll call it a stick. It's a fist kick.
A roundhouse fick.
That's good.
Do you remember that movie with Chuck Norris? Was it Sidekicks?
Yeah.
Sidekicks.
No, I remember that Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, Thick Boxer.
Thick Boxer?
Oh, that's the only kick movies I can think of. Is that it for casting crew?
That's pretty much it.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go and dive into this movie. I would say it's more of a kind of a slower type drama. It's not like an action filled film. So as we go through these scenes, we'll just go ahead and start. So basically, I don't really know the history on this. I had to look up some of it, but the year is 1981 or 3. I can't remember which one it is.
81.
Is it 81?
I believe it's 81. Yeah.
And the movie was filmed in what, 88? Is that right?
88.
Yeah. There you go. So it takes place in Afghanistan, and it is these Americans pretending to be Soviets. It's very confusing. So no, it's these Soviets, and they're basically in Afghanistan. And the whole plot of the movie is that this tank is just trying to get across Afghanistan. Is that correct?
They're trying to get back to their I can't remember where it's a Soviet line basically.
Yeah, they're lost.
Kandahar Road, but yeah, they get lost from the other because there's multiple tanks in the beginning of this movie. They end up splitting off and they end up getting lost in basically like a valley, and it's them trying to reconnect with the tank crew back in Kandahar, I believe.
Okay. Now this first 45 minutes, super slow. I did not know if I was going to dig this movie. Like it's very there's no real music. The pacing is very slow. So I was like, all right, I don't know if I'm going to end up digging this. Yeah. I don't know if you guys thought that at all. Like even the first 15 minutes is just kind of like
being unfamiliar with this. I wasn't sure where it was going. So I was pretty engaged throughout the movie.
Really? See, I
was just trying to figure out,
the second half.
Yeah. And when it gets to the second half, I feel like it does an interesting, and maybe this is how they do it, the play, but they do like a thing where it's like a small crew of people on both sides. So you got the tank crew, and then they got the band of Afghani people, villagers.
Okay.
So I feel like it's just kind of jumping back and forth between the two groups, and one by one, just the numbers dwindle down a little,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think the movie did not really click for me until he tied Jason Patric up onto the rocks. Mm-hmm. That's when I was kind of okay. Because I feel like I don't want to say the movie didn't have a plot, but I felt like I didn't know exactly where it was going yet.
Yeah.
So the movie starts off, not to get too far ahead, but the movie starts off and you have these soldiers in Afghanistan, and they're pretty much raiding this village, burning everything up.
I'm assuming they're looking for rebels that they're fighting, right? But they're just destroying a village where these people aren't rebels. They're just it's just a village. And that the rebels are the main character's cousin.
Yeah.
And he's been he was out at the time. He's just been in that area. So they just kind of destroyed this village for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I kind of took it.
But, that's how I took it.
So they're going through these villages. One of the first brutal scenes, this movie I wouldn't say is too brutal on the gore. Well, this isn't even gory, but you see it without actually seeing it. They take an Afghanistan man and they make him lie under the tank's tracks.
Yeah, I think it's because he was attacking the tank, and it was them basically teaching a lesson to other people who are potentially harboring mujahideen, fighters, whatever. But this scene, it's pretty violent, man.
It's violent without seeing it. It's not gory.
Yeah,
you see the feet bend.
Oh yeah, you do see that. Yeah,
and then they show the aftermath of which I didn't expect at all, but they show the aftermath of what happens, and you see. Yeah, they show it.
Yeah,
and I was tearing
I don't remember
up.
that.
I was tearing up.
Really?
Yeah,
I do not remember that.
He runs up. They're because is this his cousin that gets killed?
It's his brother. It's his brother.
His brother? Okay.
Yeah, his cousin is his cousin is his cousin is the guy, the scavenger that they that teams up with he has like the RPG throughout the movie.
Yeah.
But his brother is the one that they put under the tracks because he's asking, and they're like, the wife or his sister-in-law is basically like they martyred him basically. And they showed the aftermath of the bits and pieces of this, and it was very crazy to see.
I don't know. I guess I missed that.
Yeah.
But
it's a real, like, if you looked away for a second, you would have missed it. It was like the shot was like it like pans up from like the aftermath.
He runs
to
up
like him running to his brother running up and being like, like being completely upset by seeing it.
Well, I wish the scene would have been a little more. I'm trying to think what the word is. So I think it would have been more a successful scene if you knew that the person in charge what does he consider? What's his rank?
The Khan is like the title. It's like the leader.
Oh no, I mean the Soviets.
Oh, the Soviet. I think he's just a tank commander.
Yeah, whoever the commander is, they should have made him a little, because you can tell Jason Patric doesn't want to do this. They should have made him a little more forceful, because I don't understand at this point. Like, it's just kind of there, kind of like, hey, just do this. Like, I don't want to. He's like, do it. Like, it's just very kind of like a little more aggression. Would start off the movie going, okay, I know where this is going. This guy is not a good person.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But I mean, we already know he's not a good person because he's making Jason Patric do this. I'm just saying more, whatever. If you catch what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So pretty much this sets off like the tone for the movie, because you're knowing that Jason Patric is kind of hesitant to the commander's orders.
He does it anyway.
I'm sorry?
I said he does it anyway after that. Yeah. And then he writes his own name in that book. He's like, violation. I just violated a...
Did he do that?
I just committed a war crime.
Does he do that?
No, he doesn't.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't use that notebook until later on where he's writing up other people, but he should have...
he should have wrote himself up.
Yeah, I did a horrible thing.
Right. But regardless, very brutal scene. It kind of sets the tone for the movie because, like I said, the commander is going to kind of, you don't really trust him.
Yeah.
And then you're setting up, like, I guess, like the revenge mentality of the Afghanistan people.
But
just for what's been taken away from them, their villages, this person's dead, like.
Yeah, the big thing is that when they ran over the guy, he was like the Khan of that village, so he was the leader.
Oh, okay.
And now Stephen Bauer inherits the title of Khan, but he is unable to prove himself to like the other people following him, or at least like at the very least like his cousin, who's like the scavenger, because they kind of like play by their own rules. So it's kind of like him trying to command, but doesn't have the respect of the other people. So that's kind of like his journey, is to take down this tank and I think gain the respect of people, basically.
Okay, good catch. I didn't catch that at all. But as the movie goes on, we do see, so part of the Soviets, they have a person from Afghanistan on their crew.
Yeah.
And it's the guy from Independence Day. And there's a scene where Jason Patric and him are playing chess, like they've parked for the night or parked, whatever.
Yeah, they think they're just doing general repairs and whatnot on the tank.
Yeah. And they're playing chess and they're kind of connecting. Jason Patric's asking them questions. And I wish this scene was done just a little bit better, because this Afghanistan guy is, what is it?
Afghani.
Is that how it's pronounced? Afghani?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Afghani is like telling him all these important things that are going to go throughout the movie, but I feel like they're kind of rolled over. Like, oh, this means this and this means that.
Yeah. I mean,
you forget about it for half an hour and then it gets used a lot.
Because the name of the play that this is based off of is called Nanawatai, which is like or Watay, I think is how it's pronounced. But that's like where this, I think the name of comes from, because he keeps talking to him about the code of honor, which is Paktunali, and so he lists off the three, which is like which is basically, I'm gonna butcher it, but it's basically
you're good.
It's basically hospitality, revenge. So it's Mil Masata, which is hospitality, Badal, which is revenge, and then Nanawatai, which is obligation to give sanctuary to all, even the enemy. I mean, that's what Jason Patric's like Even if I kill like your friends and family, like you have to harbor, safe harbor, blah blah, and then that comes into play later on when Jason Patric eventually gets tied to the rock, where he uses that, and then that's like basically turns into the second half of the movie, basically.
Yeah, because it's thank you for that description, by the way. That's not sarcasm.
Hi, you're welcome.
So that comes up pretty soon, actually, because the commander of the Soviets wants this guy dead that's on their side because he thinks he's a traitor.
Yeah.
So like there's some like scenes that come up where like you think he's gonna kill him.
Yeah.
Because they're sitting there at night and he's like, yeah, there's like 25 soldiers outside. And that was a sound clip, by the way. They think there's like 25 soldiers surrounding the tank. So they shoot everybody and they have the Afghani go out and check to make sure everybody's dead. And it happens to be Deer. Meanwhile, the commander tells Jason Patric to take him out, like kill him, he's a traitor. Jason Patric won't do it. But the next day, like I didn't think this was actually gonna happen.
Oh my God.
But the next day they're all hanging out by like this water hole. And the commander asked the Afghani to go into the water and check to see how deep it is, I guess just so they can put the tank into the water. And he shoots him right there in the water. Like this was actually surprising. I didn't think this was gonna happen.
Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna happen so quickly.
Yeah, because this is like because at this point, I think in the movie they've been attacked like several times during their trek to Soviet lines. So like there's a general distrust with this character. Which is Afghani. And so there's like several times where it's just like George Dzundza being like a real piece of shit. Like,
but it makes but it's like they don't trust him, but it makes sense. Like
because I think
hold on. I had to put my thoughts together. It doesn't make sense that like they're like, yeah, he's our traitor. He's been telling them where we're at, but it's like, yeah, but when?
Yeah,
like there's no way
he's been inside this tank literally the entire time with all.
Yeah, exactly. So our commander is like kind of just is crazy right off the bat.
He's got a bloodlust, and I thought with this that maybe like Jason Patric was maybe like a traitor. Or somebody else in the tank crew was like kind of a traitor. I thought they were building up to something like that, but it ends up not doing that at all. It's just, I think, just to show that George Dzundza is just a sadistic
dickhead
commander. He's a dickhead.
He kind of there's so many scenes where he's like making up his own rules, like with when he kills the Afghani in the beginning,
like starts writing down Jason Patric.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say even. With the one of the soldiers takes brake fluid and makes like alcohol out of it, and Jason Patric writes him up, and then he was like, "No," he's like, "Tear it out." He's like, "We're not reporting that." Like he kind of makes up his own rules.
He's like, he's our best gunner. You can't, if he gets a violation, then he's off. He's like gonna be dishonorably discharged or whatever,
So, is anybody interested as far as like you brought up the brake fluid? Is anybody interested to see what this stuff tastes like? As far as
I actually wrote it down.
Because he says he mixes with raisins and sugar, I think, and he sweetens it that way.
He ferments it.
He ferments it.
He filters it through bread. I think the first process he filters it through bread, and then he adds raisins and sugar. And then he leaves it in the sun until it ferments for a couple of days, and then he drinks it, and then gets
maybe that's
good.
Kevin
Reynolds.
I
was like, I have a few of these things. Maybe I should
like toilet wine.
Kevin Reynolds' thing is he likes to have characters drink things that you normally wouldn't,
right?
A la urine in Waterworld, But this movie...
Sorry, because this reminded me of the scene from. Did you guys ever see The Master?
Oh yeah, he's drinking the torpedo fluid, or
he's drinking. Yeah, and he like makes his own like.
What is he? You guys were cutting out. What does he drink?
He drinks like it's the same kind of concept. He drinks this like fluid from the torpedoes that he's on the ship of, and he makes like his own alcohol and liquor out of it, and it's like real strong stuff.
There's scenes of like Joaquin like in the hull of the ship by the torpedoes, and he's just like chugging like the torpedo fluid, and you're just like, ugh.
Is he chugging it out of a torpedo?
He just like yeah. Bottoms up.
Torpedo. Torpedo.
It's like the Das Boot from Beer Fest, but it's
That was good. So now we're starting to see that Jason Patric is kind of having his own. I don't know what it is. He's starting to realize that he needs to speak up, and he can't follow this guy's orders anymore.
Yeah.
So let me ask you. I'm going to pause right here. This is one of my questions. I have two questions. The first one is the tagline for this movie was, and I don't really feel like it fits this movie.
Okay.
But the tagline was, "Even in war, the human spirit triumphs." Do you think that is a good tagline for this movie? I don't think it works. I don't. That does not. I don't.
In a way,
it's a little.
It's like trying to phrase it as like, do the right thing, even in the heart of war, kind of. But like,
yeah,
I feel like even after Jason Patric runs over the guy with the tank in the beginning, I'm like, he's already irredeemable. Like, I don't care for this guy. Like, cool that you're writing in your little notebook of all the violations, but like, you killed a dude, and you can't be forgiven for that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, and even so, for that scene, like, I wanted some more aggression. Like, even from Jason Patric, like I said already, like, he should have fought harder, and the commander should have been more aggressive. So you're like, oh man, this is a really tense scene. But it is very like, do it. And he's like, all right.
Yeah.
And it's just very kind of like, and he does it. And I don't know.
Spoiler, when he's like flying away at the end, I'm like, I hope he gets in trouble for the tank, like killing the commander essentially with the RPG. You know, it's like, I hope he gets written up on somebody else's black notebook.
Chewed out. He's been chewed out before.
Yeah, he's been chewed out before. Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm skipping anything right here, but they pretty much, the commander tells the other two soldiers to take Jason Patric out and tie him against these rocks and leave him for dead, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which I don't really understand. So they leave him. He's like attached. He's tied to these rocks.
Yeah.
And there's a grenade under his head.
Uh-huh.
And I don't feel like, was the grenade supposed to kill him, or was it just kind of like
booby trap?
Yeah, it's supposed to lure the Afghani villagers to him and just take out as many as possible. Because they keep, throughout this movie, they keep laying sets of traps, but like they end up not really working. And I mean, one works kind of. It's when they put the cyanide poisons that water source.
Yeah,
it kills like one of the Afghani villagers, but then I think other parts they're like planting traps, but that was when they kill the herd of deer, you know. But then this one is just a grenade, and it ends up like killing animals, you know, and doesn't really work.
I do like how they portray this as far as like setting the traps and everything with the cyanide and the watering holes, and they keep putting the grenades everywhere. But I like how the watering hole comes back at the end.
Oh yeah.
When the helicopter pilots land there, and like they come upon them, and like the helicopter pilots are all dead because they drank out of the water they poisoned.
Right.
Yeah, I like how that came back.
Like, it's not like you're Rambo where it's like gonna work perfectly. Like, these traps actually do backfire, and it's
it's for sure.
Good.
Let me ask you guys a question. How do you feel about the score in this movie? We talk about soundtracks a lot.
I actually dug it.
It's kind of absent.
It's kind of absent. There's one segment, I think, when they're attacking the tank at the very end, where it starts like playing this like synth score, and it's like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. Like, but it's mostly like really non-existent, or it's just kind of minimal
until the end, and then like once they're going after the tank and it's getting more intense, then the music. So I think the music's used appropriately, but it is just kind of absent throughout the thing.
Okay. I would say that I don't like the music in this movie.
It wasn't like anything outstanding or anything, but
I don't think it fits, and I don't like the synth score, and it made it feel too much like an 80s movie. Like,
well, it is an 80s movie, but
yeah, I know, but you know what I mean. Like, it made it feel like it was like a Chariots of Fire. Like,
oh yeah,
and it's like this doesn't fit. Like, I feel like this like
it'd be like having
music.
It'd be like having dubstep in like Gladiator or something like.
I feel like it either needs to be completely absent or something a little bit more like traditional needs to be there on the score. I think the synth didn't work for me in this movie.
Okay.
This score was composed by Mark Isham, and he actually did Point Break. Like, that score is actually pretty dope.
He's a good composer.
Yeah, like especially when Johnny Utah's tracking Bodhi throughout the like that score is awesome. Yeah, he's actually been around. Like Blade is one of his bigger ones. Because they did a record release for that recently. So yeah, this guy's like has quite the filmography.
Okay. It just felt too minimal. Like the score felt too minimal.
I agree. It like I said, it didn't really pick up until like the tank chase at the end when they're like tracking it down with the RPG. But like I feel like it works there, but like for other parts it doesn't really work.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll agree with you on that, Alejandro.
So the last, I think we're at like the last maybe like 40 minutes of this movie roughly. We have two different stories that are going on, and not to like downplay the story, but like Jason Patric's venture is pretty much cut and dry as far as he's kind of making amends with the Afghanis, and he's kind of coming like a mutual with them, like they're working together.
Well, yeah,
despite the language barrier,
they have a mutual disrespect and hatred for this tank, basically.
Which is cool to see, because I didn't mean to cut you off. It's cool to see because like you don't really see this in movies, like in a lot of like even 80s movies. Like it would have been seen as like they're the bad guys. They have no characterization. They're evil. And then in this, like I mean, I will give this movie, if that's the biggest thing this movie has,
they humanize it.
And that's like I don't feel like I've seen anything else in the 80s that has done that.
Yeah, and that's what I think I
very
liked
progressive
about it.
Rambo 3.
Yeah,
I doubt it.
No, they do.
Did they? Oh,
because
really?
Rambo's helping out the Taliban, and they humanize the hell out of the villagers in that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And it's again the Soviets are the bad guys because it's around the same time as the Soviet version of Afghanistan, and then the Americans are also portrayed as I think kind of pieces of shit.
You know? Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I like about it, because like essentially you have the main character. It's weird because like Jason Patric feels like the main character of this movie.
Kind of.
Right?
Yeah.
Kind of.
But he's not top billed.
It's George Dzundza, yeah.
Yeah. But you have
I argue that Stephen Bauer is like the main character.
Yeah. I would say Stephen Bauer would be above.
He's got the bigger arc of like what his personal goals are in this movie, you know.
But they switch sides like by the end of the I mean, how many war movies do you know where it's like they switch sides like halfway through the movie?
Like perspectives, you mean? Or,
yeah. No, it's like he switches sides as far as like.
I see. Last Samurai.
Oh man, Last Samurai is an okay movie.
I actually like that movie, but yeah, they do this. It's essentially the same kind of idea where it's like wounded, gets shelter, now joins the other side, and then fights.
Yeah, was a villain, now a hero.
Yeah, exactly.
But we pretty much. Oh, good.
Oh, I was just gonna double back and just say like he's hanging on this rock. They keep coming back to the women villagers who are like trying to get revenge on this tank crew. It's funny because they keep popping up and they're like go away, you know, we don't want you or whatever. But they end up being like kind of the most effective people in the fight against this tank.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's kind of awesome. Yeah. But they're throwing rocks at Jason Patric, and then he basically says Nanawatai, and then they bring him in to harbor him and give him shelter and everything. And this is kind of where like the relationship builds up, because they offer him food, he eats it, and then they ask him to fix the rocket launcher, the RPG, and he ends up taking one of their rifles, like the Enfield rifle, taking the trigger off and adding to the RPG, and then he's like, I will help you take it down, basically. And they kind of unite here, and then they go on their journey, because he learns more about like the geography in a way, where they've actually been taking shortcuts through the valley to catch up, and that's how they've been catching up with the tank, like every single time. But George Dzundza thought it was like, oh, there's a traitor among us, not realizing like, oh yeah, you're in somebody else's home, basically. They know more about the landscape and the geography more than you do, you know.
Well, and that's basically, for the next 40 minutes, that's all Jason Patric's story is. So it's just them kind of like making this connection and trying to hunt down the tank. But meanwhile, while we're following the tank, there's some good scenes coming up, because the the soldiers are done. The tank is exhausted.
Yeah.
It's about to be done.
They hit the so they've had this map on them like the entire movie where a portion was like burned off or like ripped off, and they get to that edge of the map that's missing, and they realize that it's basically like a valley that's separating two sides of the path.
A canyon.
It's basically a canyon. So there's literally no other way to get across, and they discover this from the helicopter that shows up. They say like, oh, you have to like, in order to get over there, you have to go back from where you came from. So the hell that they went through to get to there, they have to go right back through it, kind of like Mad Max Fury Road. They have to backtrack all the way, in order to get to safe lines, basically. And this is like more of the sadistic nature of George Dzundza's character, because he's like, they have a safe way to get home, but he's so like, like don't abandon ship type deal, like commander. They want to go on the helicopter, and he's like, get out of the helicopter. You're a tank crew, not a helicopter.
Yeah. I like this though, because I feel like this kind of this grounds the characters, and it's like it's not like a movie where it's like, well, they just get rid of it because this movie has an unlimited budget. You know what I mean? Like, we can just blow everything up. But it's like, no, we're not going to get rid of the tank. Like, we can use this tank. Like,
we still have 7 days to shoot.
We're a tank crew. Yeah. And like, it shows that he's crazy, but I think it also like helps with the story, pushing it forward to be like, okay, we got to go back. And now it's like setting up the final like 20 minutes of this movie where this confrontation is going to take place with the RPG. And I also like that too. The idea that they're giving the RPG so much strength.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, it's an RPG. Like, this is the thing that's going to kill the beast. Right.
Yeah.
And they're putting so much weight on it. And spoiler alert, it turns out to not really do that much damage.
Well, they miss is what happened. They miss several times, and then Jason Patric ends up hitting the muzzle of the tank.
Are we at the end of the movie? Is this where we're at?
We're just jumping ahead just a little bit. But yeah, go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say, well, we can just set it up. They end up, because we already set up a few things.
Well, you already skipped like a great scene, though, because they backtrack and they turn the tank around. And then when they get to the water hole that was poisoned, the people that arrived at the helicopter have drank the water and they've died from it.
Yeah.
So like they're just, everything that's going wrong with them can go wrong.
And it's
but
go ahead.
But then now we get to like pretty much the last 20 minutes of like, all right, the tank is going back.
Yeah.
And Jason Patric and the Afghanis are teaming up, and they're just pretty much hunting them down. This is cool because I like the score right here.
Yeah, this is where it really picks up.
And it's a good intense scene because it's just like, it is pretty much nonstop running for 20 minutes. And Jason Patric and who's the main guy of the Afghanis?
Stephen Bauer. He's the
Stephen Bauer.
Okay. And they are just like gunning it, and they're running up on top of mountains.
Yeah.
And like, it's exhausting to watch.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Right. But like Matt said, they shoot the RPG and they're so stoked about it, and it shoots the tank, but it shoots it at the muzzle, only destroying the muzzle and nothing else.
But it's such a bummer because like Jason Patric is separated by Stephen Bauer. They're on like two sides of a mountain basically, and the tank has line of sight of them. But he's like, dude, I need the RPG. Like, give me the RPG, like the rocket. I need the rocket. And then he tosses the rocket, and I was getting really paranoid about this because I thought it was just gonna like explode when they're just like mishandling the hell out of this. Like, they're just like Nerf vortex, basically.
I was gonna say.
That's awesome.
But
that's awesome.
John Elway's like in the commercial.
Nerf vortex. That's great.
He gets the rocket and ends up shooting the muzzle, and you're like, oh man, that was the last one. Like, what are they gonna do now? And this is where like massive explosion on top of the mountain,
Well, what's cool is before the explosion happens, Cyclops,
Bauer. Write it down.
Oh, got it. So he yells, and he's like Allah. He's like, why have you forsaken us? And then all of a sudden, an explosion happens out of nowhere. It's really good.
Yeah.
And then all these huge rocks fall on top of the tank, pretty much like destroying it. And then you realized it was the women who came to save the day.
It's a great callback because they show up earlier in the movie and they're like, we can help. We have weapons. Like, what do you have? And they're like, we got these grenades that you've been looking for. And it's like one of them is actually one of them is they have like a couple of stray grenades, and then they have ones I think that are wrapped into like C4, I think.
Okay.
But they end up, I think, using that, and it ends up being the thing that ultimately takes on the tank. And it's kind of awesome that they've been telling these women that they're not fighters. You can't do this, you know? And then they end up basically saving the day, and it's great.
Yeah. And you kind of think it's over right here, but it's not, because the commander is like, well, we're staying in the tank. We're fine. We'll have rescue anytime.
Right.
And then Jason Patric.
Right, guys? We're in this to the end? Like, no.
Well, then Jason Patric sets a fire underneath
the
tank, sweating them out.
Yeah.
And all three guys end up coming out.
That was a really cool way to put that. Sweating them out. I don't know.
That's what he kind of does.
Really cool kind of description.
It's basically turning them into an oven, because like they're trapped in this metal husk and it's underneath, and that's why George Dzundza ends up like
terrifying.
I'm going down with the tank, and you guys are coming down with me. And they're like,
pretty much,
F you, dude. No way.
Yeah.
You know, that's a direct line from the movie.
Yeah. So all three guys come out, and Jason Patric's like, hey, no, let them go. Let them answer to their subordinates and all that. And
I kind of don't like this.
I'm sorry, repeat again. I missed it.
I don't like this. They finally got him, and they're just like, and somehow Jason Patric is able to talk all these guys down from it. Like,
because he says he says Nanawatai again, like harbor, safe harbor. He says it for them again, and I think he just says like, let him go, you know.
But I just feel like it doesn't make sense because they're not saying it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
You know what I mean? Like the rule, if we're gonna go with the rules of the movie, the rule of the movie was if you say it, you get safe harbor, right?
Yeah, you can't say it for anybody.
You can't say it for other people.
Yeah. So, well, he says something to him. I don't know what Jason. I wish I would have wrote it down. But Jason Patric says something to the commander along the lines of like, "You're the terrorists. You're the Nazis of this war."
Oh, yeah. Because it goes back to a backstory that George Dzundza talks about to Jason Patric. He's like, they call me Tank Boy. You know how I got that nickname. He talks about how basically like when he was 8 years old, the Soviet soldiers would like lower him down onto Nazi tanks, and then he would stuff like Molotov cocktails underneath essentially what Jason Patric did to him is basically kind of burn them out, burn the tank, you know, basically like make it hot, you know, turn it into an oven basically. But he gets that nickname, and they would lift him up, and he's been doing that, you know, he helped in World War II, blah blah blah. But yeah, Jason Patric's like, you're just as bad as the Nazis now, like you don't realize it, but you are terrible. You're a terrible person.
Yeah, you are pretty much what you thought you were fighting. You're pretty much
thought you were doing for a country, but you're just as bad as the Nazis in World War II.
Yeah, you're the Nazis now.
Whoa, wow,
nice mashup of so they let him go.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna say they let him go, and then the two other soldiers take off running here in a second because the girls show up, and the commander is pretty much exhausted, and I think it's just kind of weird. So the girls attack the commander, and it's clear they kill him. And then they show back up, and there's like blood all over the face. And she kind of like wipes her face, and it almost comes off like, I don't know. It almost came off like, it's a weird cut the way they made it look.
Oh, she like slapped her stomach, like,
right? Yeah.
All right, we got him. And you're like, what'd you do?
It's a weird cut. I wish,
but also aren't his like clothes like not on his body anymore? Because doesn't Jason Patric take the clothes like back to like as proof as like, oh, he died or something?
No, I think he leaves them, right?
Oh,
no, he just looks at him. I think he just looks at him. I think he leaves them though.
Okay.
Because like when he's getting raised up in the helicopter at the end, he's just holding that rifle.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, because this end scene is when, I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off, but Stephen Baumers,
Bauer, like
Bauer.
Jack Bauer.
So Jack Bauer has this rifle.
We got time. We got no time.
Damn.
So
he gives him this rifle out of like, I guess like respect.
It's like it's a musket. I don't know what the significance is, but it's just like I guess it's like a token of like.
I thought it was like a respect issue.
Yeah.
And I wish the scene was a little bit better because then Jason Patric leaves. And it is pretty epic though, because his helicopter lowers this rope with one of those harnesses so Jason Patric can get on. And he gets taken off and he like has the rifle and he kind of shows it like, hey, I see you, I respect, or you know what I mean? Kind of like he doesn't say that, he's like respect. And then the helicopter takes off and you can see that they're kind of confused on why he's leaving. I wish this ending was a little stronger and like, okay, this might have been cheesy
because
this is the end of the movie. It cuts to black right here.
Yeah.
But I wish there was more of kind of like, not even a handshake, but maybe like a brotherly hug or like a respect issue. Like maybe that's what they were trying to do with the musket, but I don't know. I wanted a little more closure, I guess.
Yeah. It's kind of, I don't know.
Hey, here's a question. It doesn't really ruin the story at all, but like, do they really take people off away in like helicopters like that and then just leave them hanging? As the helicopter's flying around, and I was
very, very concerned because of the harness. He didn't look secure in the harness.
Yeah. And also hold on to these rubber bands.
Yeah, and there's also boing, boing, boing.
Oh my god!
But
hold on to the slinky.
But yeah, there's just so much rocky terrain that like, how's the helicopter gonna know? Like,
it's an awesome looking shot though. It's really cool.
It is, but dude, like I think this gave me the most anxiety during the entire movie. Was watching this guy hang from the helicopter.
They get back to the Soviet base, and Jason Patric's hamburger meat just hanging off of this.
Oh man!
Oh no!
We did it again.
We forgot to bring him up.
Again.
I was gonna say they land him and he's like his like completely like white hair like because of stress. Like,
it looks like
what happened?
It looks like Ernie Hudson and Ghostbusters 2. Like
like it looked like Daniel Stern from Home Alone 2 when he was like electrocuted.
His face is just like permanently like frozen in fright. Like
he's like
you carried him back 20 miles.
He's what like Wyatt's grandmother or grandparents in Weird Science.
Okay, so that is the Beast, aka Beast of War. Now, before we rate it, I want to answer your questions. I wrote this down, and maybe this is just me. If it's a stupid question, let me know. But if you cut this movie down to a half an hour, does it not feel like it could be one of those side episodes of Tales from the Crypt in the early 90s where like you have like this really disgruntled commander and then he joins the enemy, this other guy, and at the end they kill him, and then like the girls that killed the commander, like it was this whole like, I don't know, doesn't it feel like it could kind of be
it could be kind of like a Twilight.
Please.
What's that?
No, it does not feel that way at all.
I don't think so.
Oh, it totally it gave like a Tales from the Crypt vibe where it was kind of like,
I get that. I get where you're going with it, like the vibe of like he gets his just desserts at the end, you know? Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like something bad happens, and then at the end it all kind of backfires on him.
Pretty much.
Which is like every Tales from the Crypt episode. It's like, oh, let's
pretty much. Yeah.
Are you saying that just because of the just desserts thing? Like as far as like
no, it just has a feel to it because like it feels like
I know what you're saying.
There was a couple Tales. Oh, I appreciate it. I mean, there was a couple Tales from Crypt episodes that reminded me of like Yellow. Yeah, Yellow was one. I don't know. It just had a feeling of it. Like it could have been like a half an hour Tales from the Crypt. But all right. But Beast, aka Beast of War, has a 85% Rotten Tomatoes. I personally would give it. I'll give it like a 75. I think it's good. I didn't think it was amazing. I think that second half really picks up. I think it did a lot of things, or at least it touched up on a lot of topics that I feel like movies were afraid to touch up on in the 80s, which I really gave it props for that.
Yeah.
Cast was good. I just think it's just a little slow in parts, but I was definitely worth the watch. So yeah, 75% on my end. What about you, Hanto?
I'd probably go like low to mid 80s on this one. I was kind of surprised by how much I enjoyed it. I think from a technical standpoint, there's a lot of cinematography in this movie, like especially inside the tank. That was like really interesting to watch at times. And I feel like they don't really do this kind of stuff now. I think the last movie I would think of is like maybe like Fury with Brad Pitt.
I was thinking about that too.
But it wasn't as visually like that movie. I feel like is not as visually interesting. Also because they have like CGI that they're using throughout, whereas like this is all practical. But there's lots of camera angles where it's like the tank shifting around and like the camera's attached.
I noticed that,
or even like internally, like in the tank itself, there's like lots of close quarter shots of like the tank shell flying out, and people catching it, and just like it's very cool to watch. And I was actually surprised by how kind of graphic this movie was in the beginning, with like kind of sets the tone of it. So, but I was engaged pretty much throughout the entire movie. I love all the interactions with Jason Patric and Stephen Bauer, and I would recommend watching this.
Okay, what about you, Matt?
I liked it. I would probably like give it an 80%.
80%.
Yeah, there wasn't anything I didn't like about the movie or anything that I would like majorly fix outside of the accents.
Yeah,
which I feel like that's an obvious. It's like a given.
Sure.
The score's okay. It's not terrible, but I thought it was a really cool, like, I have to give it like major props for telling a story that wouldn't normally be told in 80s films. I think sometimes the movie feels that it has to be an action movie because that's the only way it can engage people and sell itself. But I think it still keeps it as like that War is Hell. I was thinking a lot of that War is Hell theme, but I was thinking a lot of Fury when I was watching it, and Cross of Iron, the Sam Peckinpah movie,
I've never seen,
which is like kind of like another anti-war movie. Awesome movie.
Who's in
but
it?
I can see this like getting a revival through some boutique Blu-ray label, like maybe Arrow or Indicator or something like that, and then it finding another life on
Blu-ray or whatever.
Finding life on Blu-ray, just because like I think it's like nobody really knows about it.
It could get an extra boost through like a release. I feel like a proper Blu-ray release.
I think it was a cool movie. I liked it. I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed for like what it had to say, and
okay, all right. Well, Nick, thank you for the recommendation.
Thank you.
Enjoyed that. We have one movie left in our combat month, and I have not seen this movie in probably a solid 15 years, maybe even 20.
I haven't seen it. Like, I don't think I've ever seen its entirety. I feel like.
Really?
I haven't seen it since I was like a kid, so it's been like maybe like 25 years from me or something like that.
I think I'm more familiar with Top Gun Ride than I am with this movie.
Yeah,
same here. So the movie is Top Gun from 1988, 89. I think it's around the same time. I don't know.
I thought it was 86.
86. I knew it, man. That's 86. So Top Gun starring Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer.
Tom Cruise, you
from MacGruber.
Yeah. Wait, what? Oh, Val Kilmer.
Oh wow.
MacGruber fame. So that's going to wrap up this month for Combat / War is Hell month. If you have any requests, any recommendations, anything you want to tell us, you can hit us up on Facebook, or you can email us at
CinemaCultPodcast@gmail.com.
Just like Nick did. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
We
should probably announce. Let's just get in people's heads the topic for next month. Start thinking about it. So
summer movies.
Summer movies.
And
not summer blockbusters, but movies that take place around summer.
So if you have any requests for that, hit us up. You can hit us up on Facebook, or you can email us at
CinemaCultPodcast@gmail.com.
Just going for it again, just so they know. But if you have any ideas or anything, hit us up on that. We already have a few movies in mind. We brought it up episodes ago. We're not going to say it again because I guess I'm the one who spoils every month with saying too much.
Yes, you do.
And I will not do that this time.
Okay.
So thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed listening to it. I'm Chris.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Honto.
And we'll see you next time.
So going down his filmography.
We'll get into his filmography. We'll get into it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a good question. Like, what came after this movie?
Well, we'll get into it. I want to get into Kevin Reynolds. I want to talk about their cast and the crew and all that. So at that point, let's go ahead and take us to the cast and crew.
Literally,
what the fuck?
What?
Like, that's my one F-bomb for the movie, for the podcast. Are you on the same page as me?
I am on the same page with you, Matt.
What the hell?
What'd I do?
You just like, I asked Hanta, I was like, what's the filmography on Kevin? And you went down, so you're like, hold on, we'll get to it.
1 minute, we got more to do. Let's go over the cast and crew.
I don't want to discuss the movies. We'll get to the movies, so that's why I just go out saying get to the cast and crew and discuss that.
Well, this would segue into what we were just talking about.